get customers. Phase 1, get customers. Yeah. Now I've got to teach David how to look after those customers. I've got to teach him how to retain them, follow them up. It's a second set of skills. Getting customers, keeping customers. Second set of skills. So you'll see customer first, then the 500 volume points. Now I've got to help him retain. I've got to help him keep them. This is a tougher job. That's why we have so many people who do 500 personally purchased volume once and so few doing 500 times 3. Because in the beginning, we might be able to get promotes for them to get the volume, but it's keeping the customers. This is where our business success lies. So it's get, keep. Then it's grow. Now people say to me, is it 5 to 7 customers this month? And then next month, keep those 5 to 7 and get another 5 to 7. And then the next month, is it another 5 to 7? Sure, we managed to find complications in detail. Right? It's get 5 to 7 customers, keep 5 to 7 customers, grow 5 to 7 customers. I can't measure your customers. I don't have the skill. I don't have the technology right now yet to measure your customers. I have got the technology to measure your volume. And I can see 500 volume points 3 months in a row. But go back to the slide before. I want to see the quality of your volume. We're not looking for 501, 502, 503. If I've taken somebody on this journey, have I got a map qualifier? Now I'm starting to get a map qualifier. Truthfully, I haven't really got a map qualifier in my mind. Because getting a Nutri-Bullet is irrelevant. I want you to have a set of skills and behavior that last forever. It's not about 500 times 3. It's about 500 for life. But the foundation is laid in those first 3 months. Truthfully, if the customer comes first, then I need to have my own customers. And customer comes first, my own, me, the supervisor. The supervisor should be doing 500 personally purchased volume. Why? Because they should be using that 500 personally purchased volume to bring new customers, to take that customer so that when this person is on their journey, you're bringing another person on the journey. And when that person's on their journey, you're constantly. So for me, that is more like what MAP should really feel like. You know, that's exciting. But even then, if I've taken David on a journey, 500 volume points, 500 volume points, 500 volume points, 500 volume points, over the course of the next 8 months, what's 8 times 500 volume points? 4,000. David is a supervisor. David, 50% carries on doing 500 volume points, 500 volume points, 500 volume points. What was the point? I've taken 500 volume points that I was getting anyway, and I was getting 15% wholesale profit, or maybe 8% wholesale profit, and I've dropped it to 5% wholesale profit. This is crazy. Here's the final piece to map. If you do map with customers, customer first, volume second, developing relationships and people first, volume second, here's the reality of what really happens inside map. It's something called 500 times 3 plus 2. Because now I'm developing David with his customers, and then I'm helping one of the customers get started as a member. And maybe in their first month, they don't really see the deal and they don't get going, but in the second month, suddenly they go, one of them says, this is quite exciting, and they go do 15, 10, 5, 1, and they end up with a couple of their own customers, and they go, this is really cool. And now David gets another one of his customers to become a member, and in month 3, David, one of his customers, another one becomes a member, and another one says, and actually what I'm looking for is under David, I want at least 2 people to activate during his activation. That's plus 2. It's can I get somebody to do 500 times 3 in an organic, real way, not credit card purchase, sweat equity, work with somebody. Can I get somebody who I can take on a journey, and after 3 months, maybe 4 months, I can have that kind of structure. Now I want to go all the way back to the beginning. Remember the intention we set of what we wanted a new supervisor to look like. Do you remember that? That's all that we're doing. So we're putting a process in place to design the outcome that we originally wanted. And the member activation program is a big spotlight to be able to help members focus. But the problem is, it helps us focus too. And it can focus us on the wrong behavior, and you can get lots of people with a NutriBullet and no royalties. Or it can focus us on the right behavior, and you can get lots of people with a NutriBullet and tons of royalties. You choose. It's behavior, not volume. Right, so moving on. Here's a completely different new supervisor. This is, again, a reality. So here's somebody who was activated December, January, February, March. I've got to update these. I've got so many more recent ones and I just haven't got there. But December, January, February, March, April. Do you think that the December, January, February member activation program, which has been running in South Africa, they qualified? But does it look like they bought the volume? Obviously not. You can see by the numbers inside there. What's beautiful is in their 4th month, not their 3rd. Do you notice? Took them their 4th month, they got their +2. In their 3rd month, they got 1 extra. 4th month, turns yellow. I start watching this, going, oh, is this volume first? Customer first, volume first? A little bit of tweaking, a little bit of conversations about customer first. By the time they hit supervisor, end of March, 1st of April, they're a supervisor, brand new supervisor. They're doing 3,645 volume points first month as a supervisor. This is what we want to create. Can you imagine my supervisor, my brand new guy, David, becomes a supervisor. If David can create 8 supervisors this way, if David can create 8 people on a journey, David can go to Get Team. But he's using Matt to go to Get Team, but he's using Matt Customer first to go to Get Team. Here's a big piece for me, and this is about our trainings, and it's a warning. It's a mistake we made a lot. At our trainings, we started recognizing 500, who's done 500 times 3? And they all stand up. It's a bit like children. If you are a parent and you say to your children, oh, congratulations on doing this, and here's a trophy, and what are your other children going to do? I'm going to behave like that because I get a trophy. What I suddenly realized is if you recognize the volume, not the behavior, you get a whole pile of people doing the volume without the behavior because they also want to please you. So you have to be careful. I even watch on social media now, and I see this so much all the time. So, well done on doing 500 volume points. Go to trainings and people go, congratulations, 500 volume points, you're on your way. Oh. There's another way to do exactly the same thing. You can say the same thing but create 2 completely different sets of behavior. And at our trainings, at our meetings, and our social media, we've got to be so careful of showing people what we value. Because if it's congratulations on 500 times 3, that's okay. But it's got to be congratulations on 500 times 3. In your first month, you've got a few customers, your mom, your sister. You've got to take it one step further. You've got to explain how they did it. You can't stop there, otherwise people think that's all you value. So activating that for royalties, I'm not going to spend any time, because you should have worked this out for yourself. I want more supervisors in my organization. All I've got to do is I've got to take David on a journey. 500 times 3. Help him develop some downline using the stuff Radhika talked about, using the stuff that Bob talked about, using some of your own thinking from your current business, adapting your business, building it with customers. I can make a new supervisor pretty much every 4 months if I'm working. If I've got somebody who I want to take to Active World Team, we now know 500, 500, 500 plus 2. That means in month 3 they're doing at least 1,500 points. If I get 10 people in my whole organization activated with this thinking, what's 10 times 1,500? Not good with maths. Enough for Active World Team. If I've got a millionaire team member saying to me, I really want to get to Prez, I really want to get to Prez, instead of all the other analysis that we used to do, all I do is run a report now. And I go, dude, you need 150 people activated inside your organization doing the member activation program. How can we see who's on track? Let's pull a quick BizWorks consecutive volume report. Oh, you're a bit far away. You better go back, create a customer culture. You better go and put some support into place. You better go help more members do 500 times 3. You've got to recreate your culture, dude. Because forget, you might get millionaire team, by the way. You might get president's team. Chances of you being one of those people wearing a pin without a check are quite high, I'm afraid, unless you go get the background stuff sorted out. So here's the last little piece, and it's developing. Many of us who've been around for a long time will identify with this picture. We got a supervisor and we talk 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. That's what you need for world team. You know, for me right now, this is certainly not any language I would ever let come out of my mouth. Because the amount of world team members we see at 2,501, 2,507, 2,504, 2,501, we put a pin on them, we put them on stage and we go, yeah, I'm sorry, we're leaders. You don't do 2,501, 2,503 and 2,507 without buying the extra stock you need to get there. It's not consumption based. We as leaders, we can use MAP. Let me show you. Imagine you activate MAP under your supervisors. Imagine your supervisors got customers the way we showed you. Imagine your members have got customers the way we showed you. Imagine if everyone's developing step by step. Suddenly, we're creating supervisors who become world team, but on their world team journey, they're creating their own supervisors who are on their world team journey, who are creating supervisors. And that's just called bringing MAP alive. How smart is it? Let's look at this, the last one. In this last picture, I've developed David to supervisor. I take David to world team 4 months in a row. On the 4th month, I've got 2,500 points added onto my business. If I develop 10 Davids, heck of a lot of work, I've got 25,000 points extra in my business. If I think member development, constantly member development, equipping our members, training our members, 15, 10, 5, 1, and skills at member level, and David becomes a world team member in month 4 in this case, he does 4,800. If I develop 10 Davids, I've got 48,000 points onto my organization versus 25,000 onto my organization. Which do you prefer? Focus on the members. Here's an example. Taryn, again I did ask her. So Taryn, in January, you'll see her, so everything has personally purchased volume. Only the red line right down at the bottom is total volume. So Taryn, personally purchased volume, 714, 1, 2, 800, 820, customer based, 100%. In this process, Taryn starts developing Lachey, personally purchased volume from February. She starts developing Megan. She starts developing Tasnay. And what you'll see is Lachey, in her 4th month, activates her 2, gets her 2 people into the member development program. Tasnay starts in April and gets 1 in April and 2 in May. By the time Taryn finished her world team qualification in her 4th month of world team qualification, she did 7,121 volume points and has 3 frontline supervisors. Now we've got somebody who I can start talking to Active World Team about, because their supervisors have got people in development. This is what the member activation program is about. So it's quite tough. No volume board for qualification. We have a rule. In fact, somewhere in the room here is a millionaire team member. No, in qualification. Let me say that. She's in her final cut of millionaire team, so I shouldn't be too preemptive. But a couple of months ago, she called us on the last day of the month. And she said, I'm looking at my reports, and it looks like I'm going to be probably just 200 or 300 volume points away from multi. What do I do? And this is the crucible. This is where you're in the fire, and you have to decide, am I really willing to do the right thing? And we ask her, what do you want to do?